Hello everyone, welcome back to Reddit Report. Today we are looking at r/AskReddit. People that came before the 2000s, what was the coolest invention that you witnessed that truly made you believe that the future was finally here? MP3 player. Game changer. Touch screens, then touch screens on things like coffee makers. I do miss my BlackBerry for physical buttons sometimes though. I remember seeing technology in movies and shows where people would be communicating by video on these tiny little devices, stuff like that. I remember thinking, no freaking way, maybe when I'm 80 now we're here. I find myself saying this is the future, I'm alive for the future all the time, such a cool time to be alive, makes me a little sad to think about what we won't be alive to see though. I was around for the entire development of the internet. First time I ever got online was with Prodigy, but I remember the first time that I fully appreciated how large of a game changer it was going to be was the first time I saw a website advertised for General Mills on the back of a cereal box. I think it wasn't until then that I understood how fully the internet was going to be incorporated into every facet of our lives. As a kid I remember video calling being a thing that felt like and was depicted in movies as being future technology. I think now looking back, other technological advances have turned out to be far more representative of the technological progression of my life, the internet, the significant improvement of computers or cell phones to name a few. But little kid me would have gotten his hair blown back by talking to someone on the phone while seeing video of them at the same time. I did like 3 video calls today. And it's weird because it still doesn't feel like the future. I have a robot that vacuums the floor and lights that come on when I verbally tell them to and what color I tell them to. My doors unlock and lock with a flick of an app anywhere in the world. I don't have to talk to people to order food, it's purchased, paid for and dropped at my door. None of this feels like in some Jetsons future, which is weird because clearly we are. Born in 1981, here. Cordless phones were a biggie. It took a while for me to believe and fully trust the new magic of the cordless phone. Like it was powered by a mini wizard living inside of it, it couldn't be real. My brain didn't want to accept it. It has to have a cord or it can't work, lol. Born in 1957, here. Similar for me except it came later with cordless flip phones. As a teen the first version of Star Trek was one of the few TV shows I found worth watching. When the first flip phones came out, I was like, yeah, got me one of them communicators. I'm in the future now. GPS, a screen that can give directions to anywhere. It's still magic. Born in 1972. I remember the first time I saw a barcode scanner at a grocery store. I was 8. That was also the first time I saw an automatic door. Barcodes also ushered in the age of automatic inventory management, which changed the world significantly. It's no coincidence that big box stores came along at the same time. I remember the first time we were taken to the computer lab at school and introduced to the internet. I was in 8th grade. I also remember being sternly warned to be very careful when typing in URLs. For example, whitehouse.gov, not whitehouse.com, which used to be a porn site or something. I know this sounds ridiculous to say as we don't even use CDs anymore, but skipping forward a song and not having to forward or rewind a tape was revolutionary to me. The laser mouse. No more fluffy trackball to clean. Communicating via the internet. Chatting with my cousin who I never got to see via IM was an absolutely mind-blowing experience. 1,000 miles separated us, and suddenly we were able to chat with each other instantly. I remember in the 80s when the fax machine came about. I worked in the legal industry and the ability to get a document signed and sent to someone immediately versus putting it in the mail or sending it via courier was revolutionary technology. For me, it was Control+C and Control+V. A computer teacher showed this to me when I was in grade 3, so about 8 or so. I'd had a couple years of my mom teaching me DOS commands, and I just barely experienced whatever Windows was out back then, 3.1 maybe. So the concept of being able to just copy all of the text is written and pasted anywhere else absolutely blew my mind. I remember thanking him about 6 times that day for showing me copy and paste, and I distinctly remember him looking like he felt super awkward about it because it truly was a basic ass command. TV remote control. Growing up, I was the remote control. Once visited one of my parents' friends and was in awe how he could control the TV from his couch. For me it was iPhones and Androids. It kind of clicked for me that technology had gotten really advanced. Things beforehand seemed like some kind of natural progression. But this was leaps and bounds. I was born in the 70s. I graduated high school early 90s. I think the moment it hit me that the future was here, and maybe this was a little late on my part, was just a few years ago. Back in high school, we lived overseas and I had a very long bus ride to and from school. I took my favorite movie and recorded it from TV to cassette tape so I could listen to it with my Walkman while I was on the bus. Flash forward to me in my 40s, sitting in the car at my son's soccer practice, watching a show on Netflix and suddenly thinking about how great it would have been to have that capability on those long after-school bus rides. Hey everyone. I hope you are enjoying the video. Please remember to subscribe and to follow us on Twitter. Zoomers are never going to appreciate how much of an impact the internet had. You got to realize I grew up in a time when, if you wanted to drive to a job interview you had to buy a book of maps and plot it all out with a marker. If you wanted to call somebody on the phone you needed to have the number memorized. If you wanted to learn something you needed to go to the library and look through stacks of books. If you wanted to find new music you had to know people who actually listened to cool music, most people didn't and don't. You want to watch a movie? You have to go to the video store and pray they have it. Know what's happening in the world? Buy a newspaper. It's one thing to say convenience, but the internet changed the entire fucking culture. All the crazy crap we're seeing with our politics is the result of the internet. The rise in depression and suicide is due to the internet. The broad acceptance of conspiracy theories is the internet. The economy is the internet. The media is the internet. Our social lives are the internet. We went from being a culture where people met face to face to a culture where every interaction was mitigated by screens. And it has fucked with our heads on an integral level. When I first saw a flat-screen HD TV, I couldn't believe how thin the TV was and how light it was. Picking up a large TV no longer required a neighbor to help you move it because these newer TVs do not weigh like carrying a bag of 3 concrete blocks at one time anymore. People started throwing out standard TVs left and right after that for lighter HD TVs. The internet is wild, particularly social media. It has made the world a larger and smaller place. I'm 36 and I was around 13 when we got dial-up in our household, so I still think the internet is a relatively new invention. People don't realize how much the internet has changed. 10 years ago I was still relying on travel books and disgruntled TripAdvisor reviews to find out good places to eat when we traveled. Just this year I traveled within my state, COVID allowed, as I am in Australia and we haven't got much community COVID cases at all. And I popped onto a specific Facebook page to ask where the best hideaway eateries were. Within an hour we had our food trek planned. This might not seem like much to other people, but it blew me away. Actually a recent one, the chip from Black Mirror they put behind their ears, you know, the one Elon Musk invented to treat dementia and Alzheimer, that is completely insane. He said in an interview that 2 years from now you'd be able to stream Spotify straight to the neurons in your brain and you would just be able to hear music with no headphones, just like hearing it with a speaker, but you'd be the only one who'd be able to hear it. Insane and, at the same time, very dystopian and scary. Thank you so much for watching another Reddit report video. We hope you enjoyed. Remember to smash the like button and leave a comment below. Have a great day.